This conference will
Hi guys. So I hope you actually tried to create a virtual network yesterday. So guys, you can hear me right comfortably? Okay. So as per yesterday's class, we are moving from yesterday's class because we discussed a lot regarding something. We discussed what is a class A, class B, class C, and we also discussed what is the difference between a private network and public network, private IP and public IP. We created a virtual network on Azure. Now, in today's class, we're going to create a network card, NIC1. Okay. Now let's go. And currently, I'm in my network interface. How should I do that? Go to search bar, just create network, and you have a lot of network related items, of which you need to select network interface. So network interface, currently there is no network interfaces available. So I'm going to add one NIC card. So NIC1. So currently my subscription is the same. What is the resource group I can actually work into? So cloud, shell, storage, central India. Oh yeah, I just created one that network demo. And now what is my instance details? Name is NIC1. Region, of course, virtual network, smart. Now, what kind of a IP assignment you need? You need a dynamic or you need a static. Let's go with the dynamic for now. And currently, there are no network security groups. Let's see for tags. I'm going to tag this as environment. So let's say this is demo. Now I'm creating it. First, it's going to be get validated. The validation is passed. Now I can create. So the deployment is actually initialized, and I'm creating a network interface card, and the name is NIC1. It takes a few minutes, maybe half a minute. Just hold on. Okay, this is done. If I go to my resource group now, I can see that, okay, this is my resource group network demo. In my network demo, I have a virtual network. this is my virtual network which has a interface NIC1. If you see this one, this is a virtual network. Okay, this is a small network or virtual network, and then this is a network interface called WAN. Okay, now we have something called but let's go and inspect this one. Okay, now the tags are in a demo, and it just got a private IP address. Okay, what does it mean? So does it mean that can I actually reach this network via my network interface called IP address? Can anybody answer me, please? Guys, Rohit, any kind of opinion on that? So the current network says that you have a private IP address. Will you be able to run a web server on it and still get access through it?
I think private IP means which is created privately, like it cannot have a public access without giving authorization or something like that.
Okay, almost. Raghu?
Yeah, Abdul, sorry, I'm not getting you the question.
So I'm simply asking. Say, this is a virtual network, right? This
Yeah.
one I'm showing to you. So inside network demo, I just created this NAT, NIC1, yeah, network interface card one. So I
Yeah.
already showed you clearly that this is the current, let's say futuristic virtual network we want to run with. So this network is a small network and it has a network interface card one. Now tell me, if I run a web server here, will I be able to access public internet?
No.
Why?
No, this is a private IP address, right? It will be accessed only via local network. It won't access via in a public network.
Okay. Richa, you are okay with that? Do you have any other opinion?
No, the answer is no, because I think they are reserved for internal purposes.
Yes. So you need this. You can't use private IP address because the name itself signifies, and it is actually used for only local networks. That's true. Good point. We are all following. So let me just do this. Okay. Now if you check, okay, IP configuration of this network interface card, it has just a public IP. Okay. So it has just a private IP. So it's all now. If I want to run something inside, I need a public access. So what I'm going to do is I want to have a public IP. So I can associate a public address, but first I need to create a public IP. So let's say let's go and create a public IP. So is a public IP. It's a service. Now there are no public IP services in your account. So I'm going to create a public IP service, and I'm using IPv4. And currently, there are basically two different types of public IP services. Wait a second. Yeah, it's a network interface cards. Okay. Okay, I think I missed a bit of network interface card theory. We're going to discuss that. Remember. So if you see, this is the public IP service. I hope this looks very similar. Okay, I just took the snapshot from here. So the thing is that So in this public IP service, it is basically used to communicate to give an IP address which is accessible through internet to resources in your account. So public IP addresses are basically used to for communicating with resources over internet. Now, there are basically two things that you need to remember. The first thing is this public address has basically two different types. The first one is basic, okay? We call that as SKUs, okay? So that means security standards according to the Microsoft. So it has basically basic and standard type. So what is this public, basic type and the standard type? If the public address comes with basic type, then it actually has basically two features. One, it supports static or dynamic allocation. That means if you can get a static address or a dynamic address set by your dynamic server, and then it can be associated with any resource which actually has a public IP addresses. Now, the most important point here is that if your network card is down, because it's also a hardware component, right? Then your resource will lose the required access to internet. And you expect the cloud provider to handle this. But Microsoft doesn't handle this because it's your choice. Now we have another type called standard SKU. So the standard type basically also supports static allocation. Standard basically supports only static allocation. Okay, and it cannot be assigned to all resources. Okay, you can only assign to your network interface cards, your load balancers, your application gateways, your VPN gateways. Only 4. Remember this. This can be an important question if you are taking a certification. So your standard SKUs, that means your public IP address, can support only 4 different types of resources. The first one is network interface card, public public load balancer, application gateway, VPN gateways. Now, this comes with a default deny rule set, or we have what we call as this particular public IP address has a whitelisting, or I think it has a whitelisting only, but it actually gives you access control, and it has high availability functionality. That means this public address is maintained, okay, from Azure infrastructure. Okay, so you're not going to be required to think that, okay, what happens if the card goes down? That does won't go down because it is highly available. So this is something like what you call this elastic IP, maintained, but elastic IP is different. This is something that you have more than one network interface or one IP address required, whatever the hardware requirement is there, Azure will maintain it. So these are the two different types. So always goes with the standard for a if you want to create or work with any infrastructure related items on Azure. Remember that. Okay, only for any kind of testing you should use basic SKU. Now, I think this is the most key information regarding public IP spaces. Now let's start and create one. So let's go with public IP 1. Okay, and let's go with then. Don't worry, I leave the DNS label like that. This is a custom billing, but what is the resource group? I want this to allocate it to network demo resource group, and that's it. You can also create So if we go to resource, there is basic there. I think we need to delete this a bit here because I wanted to go with the standard, but that's fine. This for demo only, right? I can go and change it later. Okay, now let's go to our resource group. If you just see, we have a network interface card, we have a public IP01, we have a network. Now, we have something else. Now, I want to attach this public IP to my network interface card. So, if you go to IP configurations, okay, I will show both two possibilities, okay? So when you say add, you see, I'm adding this WAC console. I think I just need to give a resource name. Okay, let's give a resource name. Now, I want to change this to static. Okay, first I have to go to network demo, go to public IP. Okay, there is no IP address now. Now it is associated. Okay. And I'm asking for static. You see, now I got a static address. Now if you go to network demo and go to our network app and go to our configurations, you have the private IP address. Now, this is a method that you can do via console. Now let's delete this. Now this is IP config 1. Now I want to add my public IP here. Okay, so I can add it directly from here. So you don't really need to create two network adapters. Two network adapters, but you can also create Azure. But instead of doing from console, okay, we can also do it from the command line. Okay, So I have prepared a bit of commands available, okay, to make it sharp as soon, as simple as possible. But I'm switching to PowerShell, okay, because yesterday we worked with shell, but in reality you need to be more adapt to PowerShell. So let's slow and start working with PowerShell. Uh, so coming to the PowerShell, let's the first command we need to enter is get the information on the your NIC card. So let me just get you. No, it's NIC. Okay, get Azure, get Azure RM. Okay, remote network interface. This is the command. Okay, just one thing I always make mistakes is about my caps. So sometimes I forget or to be caps and I make it small, and I had a lot of problem with that because I always think why this is not working. Okay, so I have to correct. So you might do that. So just remember, coming to the resource group name, I think let me just change the resource group name for now. It will be network demo, and the name of the resource is NIC1. I want to know information about that. You will get a JSON if I click on. You see, you just got a JSON of which the private IP address it got is 10.1.4. It also shows here 10.0.1.4. Okay, is it clear? Now since I have that, now I want to create a variable. So currently I'm just getting information, right? Now I'm going to create a variable with one to have all this information it has. If you want, now why would I want that? I will show it to you. Now I want to get the public information. I don't know, is it public IP0? But, I think it's public IP0. Let me check here. Now resource Azure and public address. Network. Public IP0. I think this is it. Let's check if this is true. Yes, it has the IP address of 52.149. If you check, yeah. Now, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another variable by this one. Now we have two variables. Now the third step would be showing you just the configurations. You see, if I just say nic1 dot IP configurations, then it's going to give me the JSON. Okay, and is going to return the same. Okay, so if you have more than one IP config, so wait. Let me add one more here to show you the difference. Let me add IP 322. Okay, I'm creating one more. I just need to refresh. Okay. Damn, I did a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. Again, I have to reinitialize everything. Well, that's fine. So let's do it fast again. So I'm not going to explain again. I'm just gonna use the command. And I just need to change one. What is this one? Name network service of our network demo. Network demo. Then make one. This should do. Okay, good. Now I have one more, which is PubID. Remember this. You will write a script of this sort if you first understand what command actually does what. Later on, you don't really need to go into console and create it. You just run a script, things will work. Okay, it says something happened. Wait a second. Now it should be fine. Yeah. Resource not found. Okay. I'm now. Let me just copy this IP configurations. Then I say enter. It should give me that. Okay. So, but if you see now, we will have two configurations. Config 1, again config 2. This is what I wanted to show you. So normally it is normal to have more than one IP config or adapters. In such case, if you want to just work with one, you need to do this. So this is one config. So I want to attach my public IP, that is pub IP, to this particular network. How should I do this? Very simple. Now, there should not be any issue with this one because there is none. This is the current status. And what we are going to do is that we just want to match this particular pub IP. So $pub IP. I think this is the same, right? Pub IP, no, pub IP. Whatever. Okay. Now if you just enter, nothing. Now if we again check, you have answer. And but this is not it. This is done at a command level, but this has to be applied. So if you want to apply, you need to again use a command set Azure networks, and this is applied at what particular NIC 1 variable. NIC. That means I did the required changes on my command line, but these are strictly local. Now I'm actually updating. It is done. Now I can go to my network interface card and let me go to IP configuration. You see, this is done. You might think that okay, doing via console is the easiest part. Imagine you have to build a lot of network cards, a lot of public IPs, and you have to effectively manage an infrastructure which has, let's say, 20 to 30 servers with a lot of load balancer and a lot of security components. Are you really going to do everything via console? It's your choice, okay? But also, people demand a bit of customization over PowerShell or Bash. Okay, so this PowerShell is something that very specific to Azure. So you have a long commands. So even though you know the command, you might miss the time, make a typo, and then still face the issue. But this is very useful in when you actually wanted to work with the scripts. So this is what I wanted to show you. Now you have not only successfully created a network interface card, you created a public IP, you mapped the public IP via console via command line. Now, we have time. Okay, good. Now I think we miss a bit of network interface theory. Let's discuss a bit. So what are network interfaces? You know NIC cards, right? In any computer, you have an NIC card. Now, your NIC card is a responsible component which actually takes the data from outside via your internet cable to internal components. So basically, every virtual machine which is outside, which is basically in a cloud, should be having a NIC card association. Only then it will be able to access internet. Otherwise, it won't be able to access internet. So these NICs are basically independent resources which can be created separately from a virtual machine. That means if you create virtual machines, you won't get NIC. You need to create NICs separately. You need to provide a private connectivity using the private IP address on VNet. Okay, so it actually when you say private connectivity. So imagine you have 10 virtual machines and you can act, and they are in the same region and same they are in the same region and the same availability zone. Now you want them to connect locally. So you wanted to have them only connected to local and access them via a jump server. In such case, all these services will be connected internally, okay? And you can use the private IP address of your particular network interface card and map them into a same network address, and you can actually access the connectivity between them. So these network interface cards are used both in private IP and public IP. And also they have a special feature called IP forwarding enabled, and you can actually forward packets as well. And if you see, every public IP should actually demands a network interface to work with. Okay, or yeah, I think that is a must. So this is what the network interfaces short theory is about. Now, okay. Now let's. I think I have to take a break here, and then I will wait for 5 minutes if you have any questions to ask. Later, we're gonna work with security groups. We're gonna discuss what is a security group, and we're gonna create one, and we're gonna test the access tomorrow. So, any questions, guys?
So Abdul Raghu.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abdul, the thing is now we have created two networks and one public IP, right? So if we have 30 servers, then we need to create like it will be like we are going to create in the real infra from 10.0.1.1 to some that ending IP, or else we need to create separate IP address.
So in your case, you just said that you have 30 servers, right?
Yeah, I mean 30
So
virtual machines.
that yes, 30 servers are virtual machines. So my question would be, how many are actually internet exposing? Because is the same load is there on all the 30 servers? If yes, then you're gonna keep a load balancer, okay? And your
Okay.
load will interconnect with all these IPs, okay? So only your load balancer will have a public association.
Okay.
Everything else internally routed. So your load balancer and all other servers are different subnets normally, or because you don't want your direct association to come in. If you keep your virtual machine in a public internet accessible area, then it is of high risk as per standard. So you need
Yeah,
to
yes.
keep them private subnet. So when you keep them in a private subnet, you just make some association with respect to your load balancer, such that your load balancer can actually forward the traffic to your servers which are in a private subnet. And in such case, you definitely do require an IP association, but that won't be a public association. That would be a private IP address association.
Okay.
So
So
Ravi,
what I'm
what?
asking, yeah, what I'm asking is, see, if we have 30 internal network, I mean 30 internal IP address, we require 30 internal IP address. We need to create like this, or else we can create like a group from 1 to 10 or 1 to 30, like that we can create. So
You're
that's what I'm,
talking, I want to create a huge amount of IP addresses at the same,
yeah.
same, at the
If we
same
need
time.
to create for one request, we are creating 30 40 servers, so we can't able to create like one nick cards, right? So that's the reason I'm asking. We can create a bunch of private or public IP address to assign to the servers, right? So
When you say add, okay, you will get, you will be able to add only one, but you can actually create a template. Can you see this?
okay, yeah, yeah.
Okay, with the help of automation, you can do that.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. This is basically, see, you're learning basics, okay? So you can't directly jump into such level. First, you need to understand all the basics
No, I'm
better.
just asking.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, that's fine. That's a good question. Okay. Okay, just give me a second. Ravi, yes. And Richa, any questions on the same? Hello.
No, no questions.
Okay, you were able to comprehend. Good. Rohit.
I understood. I understood.
The guy with the name called King Mobile. May I know what's your name?
Yeah, Mahit is with me. Is with me, and he too has no question.
Sorry, I couldn't get your answer.
Mahit is with me, and he too has no questions.
Okay. So basically there are two guys who are actually listening to this. Mahesh and may I know the other guy name?
Yeah, it's Mahit and Rohit. We are listening in the same PC.
Okay, okay, Rohit. I know I got it. So Rohit and Mahesh both are in the same place. Okay, good. Okay, where are we now? Good. We discussed. Now what are left our party security group. Now, what is the most important thing with respect to security? Okay. So network security are basically so when I create a VM, if I create a VM now, I will be able to access it, okay, because I don't provide any kind of security to that. So by default, if you create any VM in Microsoft Azure, you won't be able to having any default security groups. But to control this, you require security to be applied to your virtual machines, security to be applied to all the incoming traffic. So since all the incoming traffic is basically dealt by your network interface card or NIC, so in this example, we have a subnet where subnet 2 has a network interface card with NIC 1 and subnet 1 has nothing. Now this whole thing is in a same situation like our sample network, which is virtual network 1 or our small network. Now if you just see this, so if you want to control the traffic that comes to the particular network interface card, then we can create a security group. We call this network security group, or in short NSGs. Okay, so network security groups which provide security to this layer. So what happens is that you have to again create them separately. These are another services and these are also chargeable. So once you create them, you have to attach them to network interface cards. So these network security groups will control the inbound flow. So it has something called a root set. So the network security group is a stateful set. That means if you write any incoming rule, I mean any rule for the incoming, then automatically the outgoing also be created. Example, you say that all this traffic that comes on port number, okay, let's say 80 should be allowed. It means when you create this particular rule inside your network security group automatically creates another rule that all the outgoing traffic for port 80 is allowed. That way, you don't really need to create uh, the same required rule set again in the outbound. You only need to create in the inbound, and your outbound will automatically be created. So your network basically there are three things that you need to remember. Network security groups are stateful set. So if you allow incoming, automatically outgoing is allowed. Okay, or if you deny outgoing, okay, or incoming is also got. So this and they have something called default rules, and they cannot be deleted because these are required for Azure to maintain the access control. So it's not our, so you have to let them have these default rules, but you can overrule them. That means whatever the default rules are there, you can overrule them with the help of something called priority. What is a priority? So priority, if you just see the screen, priority here, so it would be these priorities 100, 101. So the least number has the highest priority. So security rules are actually allowed from top to down approach. That means the highest priority will be validated first and the lowest will be validated at the last. So now if I just allow my rule number, my priority is 100, I mean, which is the least one, let me just say. Now in the priority, I just allow 80. I just written allow 80. Now when the incoming traffic hits on a port number 80, the traffic is validated or verified on which port number is this traffic is going for. If it is port 80, then it's going to check 80, and we actually mention allow traffic on port 80. Then that rule is executed. That means the traffic is allowed. So the remaining rules will not be will not be executed because the first rule is actually became valid. Now I written another 100 for port 80 allow, but for port 8080 I said deny, or let's say uh, I just only return port 80 and then everything else I put in a deny. Then after port 80, the second rule will get executed, which is what I written is port 80 should be denied, or all other traffic should be denied. At such point, the traffic will be halted. So this rule set is something that you can also get familiar. It's very easy, but this rule set is the process of execution of rule set is very important. So the rule set executed from top to down approach. The highest priority takes the first rule set. The lowest priority goes the last one. So if your first rule set is actually valid, then your lowest rule set won't be executed. So we are already discussed about our inbound security rules, our outbound security rule set, priority, and now we need to discuss on how many where I can actually apply this network security groups. So there are two particular places where I can apply the network security group. I can directly apply network security group for whole subnet, or I can apply a security group for only network interface card. So if any of them actually, so it's my wish. So both are valid, whatever I actually shown here. The security group will be able to apply to the whole subnet or only the network interface card. So it's my wish how I want to implement security, and it gives me freedom of having several different security layers. Okay, so that's all for today. So tomorrow we're going to see the hands-on on network security, and we're going to move on to virtual machine creation and updation. Okay, so that's all for today. Thanks for joining. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.